Here I'm going to explain to you what a loop is. And a loop, no doubt, is one of the most important things to learn in programming, because almost all programs that you write will have a loop somewhere or the other. So a loop is used whenever an instruction or a set of instructions is to be executed over and over again until a certain condition becomes false, or for a certain number of times, regardless of the condition. So now there are three types of loops. There's a for loop, a while loop, and a do while loop. This is what the flowchart for a for loop looks like. First, what happens is there are four parts to a for loop: initialization, condition checking, the body, and the increment or decrement. First, what happens is the initialization, which takes place only once throughout the program. After that, you check for the condition of whether it's true or false. If it's true, the loop body, which constitutes of the instructions which you want to iterate or repeat, is there. After that, you go to the increment or decrement. After that, you go straight to the condition to check if it's true or false. And if it's true, you do the whole process again. If it's false, you break out of this loop and you come out of the program. Come out to the next statement in the program. Now let's look at the whole process and understand it properly through a program. Now this is a typical for loop. And here, as you can see, there's an initialization part where you initialize I equal to 0 in this example. After that, you have the condition checking, which is I less than 10 here. And then after that, you have the increment or decrement. And here I've used increment. And here, this here is the loop body. This one contains just one statement, but it can contain as many statements as you want. Now this is what the flow looks like. First, the initialization takes place. After that, you check for the condition I less than 10. Since it's true here, only since it's true, it goes on to execute the loop body. After execution of the loop body, it comes back to the increment, does I plus plus, which means I becomes 1 now, and then goes back to checking for the condition. If the condition is true, if it values to true, it executes the loop body. And that's how the for loop goes on. As soon as the condition becomes false, it breaks out of the loop and comes to this statement, which immediately follows the loop in the program sequentially. Now let's look at the next type of loop, which is the while loop. Now, a while loop is generally used whenever you don't know how many times you want to execute the code block, or you want to just execute the code block as many number of times until the condition becomes false. So this is a general flowchart of a while loop. First, you go to the condition, and if it values to true, you execute the code block, and then you go back to the condition, and then if it's true, you execute the code block again. If it's false, you break out of the loop and go to the immediately following statement. Let's go to the program to understand this better. Here's the while loop, a typical one. The condition given here is x less than 20, and if it's first, it checks if it's less than 20, and if it is, it executes this whole statement, this whole code block, and then here, as you can see, x is incremented. So the next time it comes here, it will be, since it was 0 first, it comes back here to be 1 again. So since 1 less than 20 is true, it will be executed again and again until it becomes 20, and 20 less than 20 becomes false. So it goes to x is equal to 0 again, which is the next statement. Next, we have the do while loop. The do while loop is used whenever you want to execute the code block at least once, regardless of whether the condition is true or false, which means that no matter what happens, even if the condition is false from the beginning, the code block will be executed once minimum. So this is the flowchart of what a do while loop looks like. So as you can see, the condition has been shifted to the end as compared to the while loop, and the code block comes in the beginning. So the code block is executed first, and then it goes to the condition. If the condition is true, only then the code block is executed a second or a third time and successively. Otherwise, it just breaks out of the loop after the condition testing. Let's go look at the program. This is a typical do while loop, a really small one. Now what we've done here is, this is a code block. The code block is executed first, and then it goes to the condition to check whether x is less than 20 or not. Now since it is less than 20 here, it goes back to the beginning of the loop to execute this whole thing once again. Now if I hadn't initialized x equal to 0, and if it was x equal to 20 in the beginning, even then it would have been executed once. As you can see, this whole thing would have executed once, and then the condition, seeing that it's false, it wouldn't have gone back for the second time, it would have just terminated. So that's all about loops. Another thing I want to tell you is that you have to be very careful when setting a condition and seeing the compatibility with the increment or decrement, because it's very easy to get it wrong and have your loop go into an infinite series, which can crash your system.